Do we have any questions to end the segment before we...
What kind of question is that? Yes, we have questions. People are really enjoying the 5... What are you calling them, Roberto? The 5 rules of what?
The light 5.
The light 5, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, I'll put them up again.
That would be awesome. Thank you for that.
The light 5.
Okay, first question. This is from Robert 1664, who asked, by directing to the latest details, the actors, are you not destroying the spirit and the mood of the wedding?
Interesting. No, of course not. Not because you pose someone and you tell them what to do to create a beautiful image, that doesn't mean you shut yourself down from photojournalism that's happening in front of you. Does that make sense? Like, you're not saying, I'm going to pose this picture and I'm going to make it look beautiful. You're just creating a moment. You're creating a memory and a portrait, right? You're putting the daughter and the father of the bride in the same photograph. Who wouldn't want that? Now, if the father of the bride happens to be doing something cool and something emotional naturally, you could photograph that too. You're not changing the fact that you're still keeping a keen eye for photojournalism. You're just not sitting there waiting for things to happen for you. You know what I mean? In weddings, if you sit there and you wait for things to happen for you, you're going to end up waiting for the entire 8 hours. So sometimes you have to do something about it. And you're not destroying anything. You're just simply creating a portrait. You know, so.
All right, we're going to go back to pre-visualization. And I have a question on that from Pro Photographer. How does depth of field considerations come into play in the pre-visualization process? So are you considering that when you're
That's a beautiful question, because depth of field can be a storytelling tool. So depth of field is not just a light controlling tool, it's also a storytelling tool. What I would have done with the father here, I would have considered a depth of field that would give you enough of the detail in the father, because it's in silhouette, so maybe like an f4, f5.6. I wouldn't have done f2.8, because then depending on where you are, you don't want the father to be this big blurry image. Does that make sense? You're focusing on the bride, right? So if the father is in the foreground about 5-6 feet from the bride, you have to think, now your aperture has to be able to encompass that entire area to get both in focus. Now, do you need both in perfect focus? Of course not. So you don't have to go to f22. But f5.6, at a reasonable distance from the father, it's going to give you good enough detail on the father without blurring him all the way through. So actually, aperture is a beautiful storytelling tool. And because of that question, actually, maybe when we do the next segments, we can actually add we'll do some storytelling through our choice of aperture. Okay? Shutter speed, aperture, and all of that, they're storytelling tools for you. You could always slow down the shutter and have movement in the bride as she walks by, and you can see her movement while the father is standing still. That's a shutter way of creating a story. So, see, it goes back to we need to push ourselves creatively. If I would have gone to Ashley Fisher and I would have kept her going for 10 more minutes, she would have killed me. That's the first thing that would have happened. She would have killed me, number 1. Number 2, she would have started sweating profusely, right? Number 3, that's a good sign. It means you're using your brain. And the more you do this, the more second nature this will become. Okay? So, very nice.
Okay, Roberto, we have time for a couple more questions. This question is another pre-visualization question from Sam Cox, who's in Loveland, Colorado. Hello, Sam. Roberto, do you recommend practicing visualizing all the time, wherever you are, until it becomes second nature?
Yeah, I mean, you can pre-visualize things even when you're just sitting at home. Like if you're watching TV, you have a window, you have a couch, you have an ottoman where the TV is standing, right? Could you do something with that? Could you put a person there? I think this is very difficult for people to do. So I tell people at my workshops that if you spend maybe 5 minutes, maybe a day, trying to do something like that, trying to pre-visualize, like in that little bench, try to visualize. You first start with the torso of the body. You can visualize that right away. But then it gets really difficult to kind of memorize where the hands would be, where the legs would be, what her expression should be, what are her hands doing. And once you start memorizing all of that, you have to keep it all in your memory, and then you have to bring the model or the subject or whoever you're doing, and then you have to execute it. And if you don't do that, like actually when I asked you to come up, you kind of froze, right? Like everybody in the internet probably will too. And that's because it's not like you have spent 5 minutes a day doing this. And the brain is a muscle, right? You just have to develop it. When I used to be a classical guitarist, I used to look at the music and I used to be like, man, there's no way I'm going to be able to play from here to here while I'm playing 6 notes per second. My fingers are not going to move that fast. But the problem is you have to pre-visualize where your fingers are going to be before they're there. So I'm playing here and I have to go here and I'm playing and I know it's coming, then my eyes look at where I need to be and then my finger jumps right to it. That's pre-visualization. Pre-visualization. Thank you, Ken. I wish I was better, but English is tough,
Hey, we got you.
Got you. Yeah. I can't say the word jewelry.
Jewelry.
I can't even say the word English right. I can't say visualization.
Pre-visualization.
Pre-visualization.
You just have to practice, Roberto.
Yeah, practice. Pre-visualize the word.
Boom.
How do you say it in Spanish?
Pre-visualizar. Oh. Nah, that's easy. Did it sound sexy to you? So yeah, guys, I think the key here is not to just listen to this course and enjoy it. I think the key here is to actually implement what I'm trying to show, what I'm trying to teach. I'm not teaching you techniques in photography. I'm really trying to teach you a methodology, a system in your brain that you can follow. Because this is only a 3-day class. Once this is over, I don't want people to go home and be like, oh, that was great, next. You know what I mean? I want people to be like, this was great, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to spend 5 minutes, stare at a wall and visualize somebody standing there. Fix the pose. Stare at a couch. Picture that same person laying on the couch or sitting on the couch. What's their back doing? What are their shoulders doing? Visualize that. You do that for 5 minutes, and trust me, when you have clients in front of you, your brain will not betray you. Your brain will be like, times.
Roberto, I have a question for you. When Ashley was up here, my heart started beating fast for you, Ashley, and I have been in that situation so many times, pretty much every time I'm at a photo shoot. Do you still go through that at every wedding? Do you have a moment where you're completely stressed and anxious and have...
I do.
You lose it all.
I do get nervous, but we get nervous because we care about what we do and we care about doing a great job, and you don't know what's going to happen during the day. You don't know how the energy is going to be like. But although I'm nervous, I'm also super, super confident in the fact that I come well trained. Like, I don't come guessing and hoping and praying. I don't come thinking my camera takes 8 pictures per second. I'm going to use every single one of those. I come thinking, I know my eye can detect beauty in any room. I know light. I know how to understand. I understand light's behavior. The beautiful thing about light is that it's physics. It's like mathematics. It never changes. The laws of light are constant. It will never change. The sunlight behaves the same exact way as the little flash sitting on this table. Those big strobes you buy do the same exact thing. They behave the same exact way. Photography is actually pretty predictable in that way. People, I'm saying photography is pretty predictable. It's actually not that complicated. Like, study the behavior of light, and you will never have light problems again. And I will discuss the behavior of light today. We'll talk about the most fundamental laws of light. Okay, so.
Well, I think that's what's so cool about this course is kind of filling that gap between that anxiety and the pressure of feeling like you're going to fail, and the space between that and having the confidence and knowing that you know how to conquer each challenge.
Correct. I think once you are about to perform, like when you're about to do a shoot, that's when the stomach is turning and you feel this anxiety all over you. But once it's go time, once it's time to start, your training takes over. Your training takes over. So, kind of like a track runner, like a sprinter or something. You know that you have the muscle movement to run super fast and sprint. You don't have to worry, am I a fast runner? Am I fast? you already know you're fast, so you kind of come with that confidence, you know? And we just need to train ourselves a little bit more. We have to take that a little more seriously.
Well, that's what we're here for, Roberto.
That's right.
That is what we're here for.
Let's make it happen.
We have kicked it off. I love how you just summarized that, Susan, because it's like, that is the goal right there. Yeah, absolutely. So, Roberto, we're going to take a 15-minute break. What are we going to do when we come back?
Let me pull out my little thing, and that's when the shooting gets going.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. We are going to start part 2 with some behavior of light. So when you do, or when I start taking photographs and you start joining me with that, you know what's happening. Instead of just watching, you're actually understanding what's happening in the light and in the background, okay? We are going to move to a beautiful room. We're going to take care of it. We're going to start creating problems and pointing the problems out. We're going to start solving the problems one by one. We do have a beautiful model, or a few of them actually, and we're going to start putting them. I will put you on the spot quite a bit, like I did with Ashley, and I will do it again, Ashley, again and again. And I will do it. I will put myself on the spot as well. I will also push myself live in front of everybody. It doesn't matter. I don't care, because I'm trying to encourage people to do it for themselves. Okay? I don't think I'm better than anyone else, so I'm going to do it myself. And we're going to do that. We're going to talk all about pre-visualization.
You got this.
Keep practicing.
Keep practicing, yeah.
Pre-visualization. We're going to pre-visualize.
There you go. Nicely done, Roberto.
Thank you. We're going to pre-visualize segments. So once you start shooting the bride and the bride is pulling her dress out of the wherever we put the dress, you're going to have to think, what's the next story after that? What's the next story? What are we going to do now? And you know that no matter what you do, you're never going to break those 5 light rules I talked about. So when you see one of those show up, that's okay. We're just going to fix it. And if another one comes up, we're going to fix it. And like that. Okay? We are going to talk about, we're going to push ourselves creatively again. We're going to talk about how to read the room, which is part of the charts that I did my last CreativeLive class. I will pull them up again. We will go through those charts. Those charts are going to apply to every room we do, whether you're outside or inside. So we're going to start reading the room. We're going to do that first, and then we'll start. Okay, so segment 2 and segment 3 are actually very heavy photo shoots and very heavy on problem solving. Okay.
Well, that's fantastic. And Quayle's photo said, wow, the key is not just to listen to this course and enjoy it. The key is to implement. And so
that's right.
People are ready to get started with that.
That's good.
So everyone, we will see you back in about 15 minutes. Thanks so much, Roberto.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome back from break, everyone. We are here with Roberto Valenzuela, and we are about to get shooting. We're here in a beautiful mansion, and we are learning how to overcome common problems with photography and shooting. So we're going to give away a prize before we get back.
Let's do that. Okay, the first prize we're giving away today is a Post Edits gift certificate of $50. And Roberto, can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
So Post is actually the new name for a very well-established company called PWD Labs. It was called PWD Labs before. They rebranded, they changed their name, same company, same people. They're actually my editors for all my weddings. So I come back from a shoot, and if I don't feel like it, I send it to them, and they even do the entire selection process for the pictures that my bride and groom will see. Sometimes I do the selection myself, and then I send them the good ones, and then they do the edits for them. And by edits, I don't mean just the exposure. I also mean the most important thing to me is the straightening of the photos, just to make sure that they're really straight. And it takes them about 3 to 4 days. It's really nice, and then they send it back to me, and then I can get going with my other editor to do the album design and all that. So it's actually great.
Very cool.
It's beautiful.
All right, well, the lucky winner is Anne-Marie Desmet, who participated on the CreativeLive Facebook page. And her quote today is, "In lighting, it is easier to know what you don't want than to figure out all the 10,000 possibilities." So great quote from you, Roberto. Congratulations to Anne-Marie.
It's always fun listening to the quotes, you know.
It is.
You know,
You're like, did I say that?
Last time it freaked me out, and now it's freaking me out again, you know. It's just like, oh, that came out, you know. So.
It did. These are winners. All right, and congratulations. Thanks for the gift certificate.
Thank you.
All right, Roberto, take it away.
Okay. First, can I get that mannequin that I got? The mannequin here. Okay. Guys, welcome back. Everybody out there on the, like Susan says, internets, right? Welcome back. Here we have a bride's room, getting ready room. You have the same type of things. We have very little light to work with here, which is actually working in our favor because it's a problem, right? We also have multiple mirrors all over the place, which could be an asset or they could be a problem as well. Let's see. We have some cool chairs and some cool furniture to work with, and we're going to basically use these things. Everything in this room could be a problem, and everything can be turned into a solution. So whenever you think it could be an issue, it's also an asset, okay? Even the design of the carpet could be complementary for something we do. Outside of this room, there is a door, and there's a mirror outside, and we could even use that to create multiple stories happening at the same time. We have a nice window source here, and we're going to actually talk about how to complement this light with flash and with video lights and with reflectors and diffusers and so forth. And we also have a small window source here where we have the dress hanging and so forth. One of the first things I want to do is talk about my equipment that I used during this part of the wedding. I don't know, I'm going to turn it to you guys. I don't have a microphone on you, but I just have a quick question. How many of you have a system for lens choices for this portion of the photo shoot? For getting ready, and you can be honest, you can say, I don't really have a system, I'm just going to do whatever. But how many of you have a system for the bride getting ready? Because there should be a system, and I'll explain why. But do you have one, or do you not really? Or
I guess
go ahead, Christelle. Go ahead.
I guess I kind of have started a system, but yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Like, on what is that?
Oh, like the tight, middle, wide concept that Sal talks about, and yeah, things like that, where you understand, okay, this is a portion where I want to capture something wider, and then this is something where I know something important or emotional is going to happen, and then you kind of, you get something closer in.
Okay, beautiful. You don't have to. You don't have to all talk. I'm just saying, if you have something, go ahead. But go ahead. Do you have one?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I normally, I own 4 lenses that I use during all the day. So I probably, like the portraits, I do it with a 50, and wide with a 24, and yeah, I avoid 70 to 100 during the getting ready because I'm gonna be really close. I don't think I really gonna need it. I only use it for the ceremony. So yeah, it's pretty much what I do.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the way I go about this equipment selection for brides getting ready. Okay, so I'm going to grab my equipment, I'm going to pull it over here. Let's see. So, let me see, is this mine? Yeah. And there, and I'm going to grab these guys, and this. I'm not going to show a few things that work well. This is that crazy thing I was telling you about from Sunbounce. Looks very weird, and I only pull it if I really need to. If I don't need it, this stays away. You know what I mean? But basically what it does is you put the camera right here. The flash is on the camera, and you can turn the flash towards this, and it creates a wall. This works well if you're shooting outside. If you have nothing to bounce light out of or off of, you can actually bounce it on this, and this will give you a beautiful light source back into your subject. Okay. Okay. If you look around the room here, there's really nothing to contract. What I mean by that is, you can contract the girl or the groom, but there's no columns. There's no repetitive columns. You know how you see those columns sometimes? Whenever you see columns like that or something that's far away but it repeats itself, that tells me I should try a zoom lens. When I have something fixed like this, there's nothing really repeating in a constant manner, then that tells me I probably want to stick with prime lenses. Now, I'm going to use prime lenses primarily, not because they're prime, but because they have a milky feel to them, because they can go below 2.8. Now, I don't know, I recommend people watching online, If you are photographing a bride like this getting ready, and you do use the 24-70 or something that looks kind of more standard at 2.8, not exactly the most exciting look, okay? But when you put a 2.0 or like an aperture of 2.0 with a 35 millimeter lens, the 35 millimeter lens or the 24 or whatever wide angle you have, because it's wide angle, it's more forgiving when it comes to the aperture. When it comes to the focal plane, it's more forgiving. So if you are focusing on the eye of the bride with a 35 millimeter lens, most likely you'll be fine. Like if you miss it and you're focusing on the cheek, or you accidentally focused on the eyebrow or something, because you're wide, there's more room for error there, okay? If you put on the 70-200 and you put it at 200, you better be dead on where you're focusing, dead on. But 35 has a little bit of forgiving space. The 35 millimeter also allows you to do multiple stories at the same time. So it's a great lens for photojournalism. So if you do want to have the father doing something, the bride doing something else, the 35 gives you a really great angle, a really great view of multiple stories. Another thing, this is kind of a funny one, the 35 and the 50 and those kinds of wide angle lenses, if you were to, and I was going to talk about this, about photojournalism, if you see a photojournalistic moment happening, the 35 millimeter allows you to capture it. Even if your composition is totally off, at least you caught the moment. And then you can go and crop it if you need to. You obviously try to do it perfectly right on the camera, always, and everyone knows that I'm a big advocate for that. But in the emergency situations where you just happen to turn around and take a quick shot, the 35 will get you there without without cropping in too much of the image. So the reason why I say that is because sometimes at workshops people pull out pretty much only the 70-200, right? Which is a great lens. I use it all the time. But when you do that, you zoom, you find something and you try to go to it, and you're zoomed in at 200 or 150, and you're gonna miss the moment. I recommend people have 2 cameras on them. Right now we only have 1 because we're untethered. But I recommend you have a 35 millimeter on you and an 85 for your close-up type of things, or you keep the 35 and you have a 70-200 on the right. Okay, those are pretty much the 2 good ones that are going to help you the most. I use the 50 quite a bit, depending on the room, depending if I have space. Another thing I want to talk about, prime lenses, like the 85 and these kinds of lenses, are pretty slow, right? They're slow in focusing. If you feel like you're running out of time and you feel like you need to just get things happening quickly, I would probably go away from the prime lenses and shoot more with the 70-200, and because the 70-200 you can zoom in and out quickly. See what I mean? So you can zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. You're in, you're out, and the focusing is super fast. With these guys, you have to really get into that focusing point, and it takes forever. And with these, you have to walk to zoom, right? So if you think about it, if you are in a hurry, if you're a master of these lenses, then stick with it. If you're having problems, go to your zoom lenses and deal with that. Okay. In terms of flashes, I always have my 2 flashes, my flash on each camera, on the camera. Okay, one of my flashes is on the camera and it's ready to go for wireless transmission. Okay, in case I need to pull out a flash quickly, the other flash is sitting on my other camera. So let's say I have two cameras like this. This flash on this camera is not necessarily for the camera. It's just so I can pull it out quickly, and it's ready to go as a slave. This one is ready to go as a master. Okay? So basically, if I see where I could add a little punch of light, I don't have to sit there and pull out the flash and be messing with the menus a lot. I kind of have it ready to go. Okay, so that's that. So let me get rid of these here. All right, let's talk about light and shaping light and what all that means. I talked to you that I was going to discuss a little bit of light principles right away. So take a look at the room. Big light source. It's gorgeous. We have a bed. We have a bed in front of the big light source. I want you to remember that people that wrote me problems, they said, how do you shape different faces with light? How do you shape? If you have a person with a round face, very round face, where in this room would be the best position for them? Is it anywhere? No, of course not. If you have a person with a very thin face, where's the best place in this room to make their face a little fuller, and vice versa? If you have a light source like this, and the light source hits the person's face right away, like in front of them, you're basically lighting the left side and the right side evenly. What that does, it's going to broaden the face. It's going to make the face more broad, okay? If you, for some reason, if you have a person with a thinner face, and you put them in front of this, and you turn them around, the light's going to hit part of their face, and it's going to make the other side of their face darker. And if their face is already thin, you just made them like into a little spaghetti. And that looks really weird. See what I mean? So if you have a person with a thinner face, it's okay to turn the face more towards the light. Okay? If you have a person with a round face, it's probably better to get that light and put it at a 45-degree angle from them, so part of that light goes away. Part of the light hits them, and then it kind of goes away. So it thins down this part of the face. Same thing with people with more to love. You don't want to broad light them. You want to kind of light them at a 45-degree angle, so that part of their body gets hit first, and then the light kind of starts to go away little by little, and you thin out their body. Okay? Same thing with arms. If they have lovable arms, okay, same thing. Lovable arms. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me ask you something. If you have a mic. I don't know if you have a mic. Let me ask you something. In terms of photography, which light source is bigger? The sun or the flash?
The flash.
The flash. Why is that?
Because the sun is just a tiny little dot coming. It's so far away that it's very, very small. It's powerful, but it's very small. And
exactly.
The flash has...
Because of the distance. So that's going to be the first lesson we're going to learn. Okay? Light size is relative. Okay, that's the first law of light that we have to all remember. Light size is relative. Also, light size is the key component, and distance from your subject to the light source is the key component for where the shadows are going to fall and how those shadows are going to look. Okay? So, if you have a big light source like this, the shadows are going to be soft in my face because the light source is so much bigger than my face, right? But if I have a flash, and we turn the curtains down, and I have a flash, and the flash hits me in the face, now this light source is this big, my face is this big, what's going to happen to the shadows?
The flash will wrap around part of your face and compensate for some of the shadows.
If the light source is this small, one thing to remember is if the light source is small, the shadows are going to be really strong. Like the edge of the shadows are going to be very, very strong, very contrasty, okay? The bigger the light source relative to what you're shooting, it will soften the shadows. So if you want soft shadows on a person's face, you will go for the bigger light source. Let's talk about, have you guys heard of the inverse square law of light? You have a little bit? Okay. The inverse square law of light, which sounds all complicated, but let me simplify that really quickly, and you're going to use it a lot. It means that the power of the light is it's equal to the inverse of the distance. Okay? So if you have a light source this big right here, and you're a foot away from that light source, you're getting the full light, right? A foot away. As soon as you put that bride or that groom or whatever 2 feet away from that light source, 2 times 2 squared is 4, right? So 1/4 is 1/4. So now you grab this huge light source, it hits the person, you're 2 feet away. Now you have 1/4 the light hitting your subject. That makes sense? And if you go to 3 feet, now you have 1/9 of the light hitting your subject. 1/9 of the light. That's a dramatic difference. It also affects the way the light falls off. If you have a big light source and you're standing 1 foot away, you're going to get the full blast of the light, and it's going to quickly go into total shade or total shadow on the other side. The farther you walk away from that light source, the farther you put your bride or your groom away from the light source, the fall off becomes more even. So at first, the fall off is very strong. It goes very bright to very dark. You step 2 steps from that, 2 feet from that light source, and it goes from very bright to darker to dark, but not as dark. Then 3 feet away, less, now it's more even. And then 4 feet away, or 5 or 6, it becomes more and more even. Does that make sense? So the farther you get away from that light, the more even the face is going to look. Now, how can you use this for your photography, and how can you solve a lot of problems? Well, that solves a lot of problems in terms of body and in terms of face shapes. So, for example, let me pick on somebody. Let me see. I won't pick on Ashley. I'll pick on Cecilia. Cecilia, come on over here for a sec. Okay, here's a little mannequin head. This is a thin one.
Yes.
She's not too round.
That's
right?
Correct.
If she's not too round and you wanted to kind of light her up evenly across, do you think you should be close to the light source or farther away from the light source if you wanted the light to be more even?
I think farther away.
Exactly. If you wanted the light to be more, if you wanted to make her more thin and you wanted to apply shadow on this side of the face, okay, then what do? We simply move closer to the light source.
That's right.
See, this way we're not guessing. We already know. Now, this light source is quite large. Is that going to give you soft shadows or harsh shadows?
It might give you hard shadows.
It will give you soft shadows.
Soft shadows.
The reason is, the bigger the light source, the softer the shadows will fall on your subject.
Okay.
Okay? The smaller the light source, the more harsh the shadows will end up on your subject. Okay? So, take a look at this real quick. I don't know if the cameras can get it, but if you put this really close, I mean, this is a diffused day, but look how bright this is and look how dark this side is. You see that? Now watch. When I pull away, look how this dark side starts to get wider and wider. Even though you're actually getting away from the light, it's actually almost adding light to the other side. Weird, right? Yes. See, look, bright, dark, and then look, the other side is going to start becoming more and more even as you go. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Look, they're both pretty equal now. Okay? So, let's think about, when we bring the model over and the bride, we're going to start hitting those laws a lot. Okay? I'm going to say, give me soft shadows in her face. You're going to pull that. Then I'm going to say, give me harsh shadows in her face. And we're going to pull out a flash. We're going to hit her with a flash because the flash is a small light source. And that light source is going to hit. And because it's so small compared to her face, it's going to create awful shadows in her face and all over the place. Okay? Then we're going to say, make her arms thinner, just simply by the position of the light. And that's going to solve a lot of these people's problems that they wrote me about how to make someone look good and all this stuff without having to be rude or hide them or anything like that. This also is going to help us when it comes to group portraits. When we do the bridal party, let's do something quickly here. Can I borrow all of you? Actually, just 4 of you, 3 more of you. 3 more of you. Come on over here. Here's another problem somebody talked to me about. Let me move this out of the way. Somebody told me something about how to photograph, and we'll talk about wedding parties later, but I just want to do a quick experiment, okay? How do you photograph wedding parties so they all look good in terms of lighting? One of the mistakes we do is, go ahead and line up over here. Remember what I said about the light source falling off really quickly? This is a lot. I mean, this happens a lot. Every time I go to print judging, every time I do photos, every time I see photos all around the world, I see the wedding party kind of here because that's the pretty background. If the background is pretty and the light is like this, you're making a big mistake. Does that make sense? Because the light is going to hit you, you're going to look great, and then the light falls off by a quarter. Like, it's going to fall off like 4 times on you. Then it's going to fall on you again by less, but still falling. And by the time it gets to you, you're already dark. Does that make sense? The more you get away from that light source, you're going to start getting darker and darker. You're going to be all lit beautifully. So just remember that. You have to, if you're going to have a big broad light, you better have another big broad light illuminating you to kind of compensate for that. You can use a reflector, a diffuser, a reflector or whatever. Okay? If you don't have one, grab the people, squeeze them together, go ahead, and then just start turning so you're faced by the light completely. So turn all the way this way, keep walking this way, and right there, and right there, right there, right there. Why am I at a slight angle to the light? Can you tell me why you think?
Shaping the body.
Exactly, you're contouring the light. Is that a word? You're shaping the light. You're shaping the body with the light. So I can see your beautiful light here, and it has a little bit of a fall off right there. Same thing with you. You have a beautiful light, and then it has a very subtle fall off right there. Okay? But now everyone looks lit evenly. So if you are to get close together and smile and all this stuff, you're all going to look super good. What I'm trying to say to the people watching online is don't get too excited about the background when you have to think about the light first. That's the whole moral of everything I just said. Don't be like, oh, this is where the cool mirror is, let's do it here. You can do it there if you have the tools to make the light right there. You can have a reflector or whatever. You can have a video light or whatever. But you can, if you only have the window, then you have to, this will dominate where you put the people. Okay? So, yay, thank you.
So Roberto?
Yeah.
Can I jump in with a question from the internet?
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of, maybe you just answered this with them, but
sure.
The pro photographer from California, how do you best balance intensity of light and evenness of light to the face? So that balance of intensity and evenness.
Well, I wouldn't balance it. I would choose one or the other, right? If I want intensity in the portrait, then I already know big light source, soft shadows, big light source, quick fall off if the subject is close to the window. I know this, the light behavior never changes, right? That's why actually when the sun is out there, and the sun is a huge light source, right? But when by the time it gets to Earth, by the way we see it, it's a little tiny light source this small in the sky. That's why when the sun hits us, we have such harsh shadows in the face. Even though it's the size of many planets, because it's so far away, it becomes relatively small to our face. So if I want a groom or a bride, I want to make a mysterious photograph, I put them close to the window, and I know that the light will fall off. If I want to make something really beautiful and light and full of light, I put them maybe not exactly in front of the light source, that's too flat. I will give them a little bit of an angle, and that will give them a more three-dimensional look, because the light will hit them and it will very slightly fall off. I also know that if I keep this 45-degree angle and I move closer to the window, I still get that three-dimensional shape, but now it has a stronger contrast. Now the light on this side of my face is stronger and it falls off quicker, but it still wraps around. Does that make sense? If I wanted a full split face photograph where this side is totally light and this side is totally dark, then what do? Very simple. Put the groom or the bride very close to the window and take a picture at straight from their nose. And it's going to be total bright, total darkness. You know what I mean? If you have a person, and this is another of the many problems people wrote, if you have a person that has a lot of wrinkles in her face and she's like, oh, can you take care of the wrinkles and all these wrinkles and can you Photoshop them? Let's use our photography knowledge of light to fix the wrinkles before you actually go in post-production. Okay? If you have a person with a lot of shadows, a lot of wrinkles, that means that there's gaps in the skin. That means that shadows is going to hit the wrinkle and it's going to create more shadows. The more shadows you create, the older the person looks, right? So simply, that's a good person to turn around and make them face directly on the window. You have even light, left and right, perfectly even. It fills in all the little crevices on the skin. All those little shadows go away. But do they go away 100%? Of course not. But it sure makes them look their best. And most importantly, their eyes have beautiful catch lights the entire time. Okay? Let's see. Let me try something here. Where's that? Mannequin head. Okay. Take a look at this real quick. This is a pretty big light source in comparison to this head, right? Look at that. Look how it the closer I get, the darker it gets on the other side. Do you see that? Now, it's good to practice these things on little $3 heads like this, because these people don't judge you. Does that make sense? Like if you have to bother bringing a model to your house. Can you come over? I need to do weird things with the light. You know, they're going to be like, yeah, I got lunch plans, right? These little heads cost about $3. You can get them, and look at this. You can really kind of get to know, look, fills up here, it fills up all the wrinkles. Here you have contrasting light, and it's soft shadows because this is close to the face. The farther away, the smaller it gets. And look how the shadow starts to come in the nose. You see that? You want to make that nose shadow softer, get closer. And now the light rays hit the face in many angles and nose. Okay? So look at that. You can really see how light behaves if you get one of these little heads from any store, any arts and crafts store. Okay? Take a look at the way it behaves when you light up from the top. How does that look? Compare that to that. Doesn't that look awesome right there? So when we bring the model, we'll practice what we do. We'll do this, and then we'll put the model and we'll do the same thing. If you have a light source here, and the girl is here, bring the chin up and look how she looks, right? And if you go like that, look at the shadows in the sockets in her eyes, and do you see how it looks really freaky and mysterious? And I know what you did last summer. Or what is that? What is that movie? That's it. Yeah, I know what you did. Very scary. You killed someone. You know. Oh no, it was Witchcraft Project or something. When they're like Blair Witch. Yeah, when they're like. It's very. Remember that? Okay. So, which one do you guys like more? This or this? Right. If you're photographing a girl, do you prefer this high contrast look, or something more like that? Right. And now look at the angles about 45 degrees, right? If you have a person that has a lot of wrinkles, do you do this or do you do this? Straight on. Fills up it will fill the maximum amount of shadows. Now, for the people watching online, the reason why I'm going through this with a mannequin is because I want you guys to be able to practice this at home. This is a mannequin. You can buy it for $3. I'm also going over about 30 problems people wrote me about how do you handle people with wrinkles? How do you handle people like in groups? How do you make a girl look more glamorous? How do you do all of this? I want you to take care of these problems using light. This is our tools, not using Photoshop all day long. Let's get it right. And by using a mannequin head, you can actually practice all day long and experiment how this looks without being judged by the person that you're doing this with. Okay? Any questions on this, you guys? Pretty good? Pretty good? Okay. One more thing, if the person has a white face and you want to make her look really beautiful, turn the hair and block half the face with the hair and illuminate only one side of the face. That way the person viewing the photograph doesn't know how thick her face really is, or her head. Let me explain. You have this, this is kind of weird doing this online in front of everybody. I'm like, sorry. I have to behave, Okay. Cool? Very cool, right? You do this. You turn her body away from the light, and you turn her face back towards the light. Does that make sense? So if you're here, actually, I'm just going to do it with this. Like, pretend this is the window, okay? Turn her body away from the light, turn her face back towards the light, and look how glamorous she looks. Does that make sense? So that's it. That's it. If a person has a thick face, cover part of it with her hair. Everybody has some hair, and if they don't, just use the light. Get closer, and it's going to make this darker. If you don't have this in shade, you can cover it with hair. If they don't have hair, you can do it with shade. Right? All right. So, obviously, light gets a lot more complicated than that, but those are truly the basics. Okay? Super, super basic. Let's review real quick. Big light source, soft shadows. Small light source, harsh shadows. Big light source, person close to the big light source, it's going to have quick light fall-off, very drastic light fall-off. As the person gets away from the light source, the light fall-off will even out. Okay? It starts the light falls off like at 80% first, and then it goes to 60, and then 30, and then 12, and then 1%, and then 2%. It basically falls off drastically. By the time that person is all the way out to here, the light's pretty much even. See? It's even in my face right now. If I get closer to the light, it becomes the fall off is quite drastic, okay? All right, let's bring in, what was your name again, sorry? Alana. Everybody, let's give her a round of applause for coming over. Alana is our beautiful model. Okay, Alana, quickly. Let me show you. I knight you. Sorry. Okay. Light fall off, falls off quickly. Light fall off, falls off quickly. Freaky. Freaky. Bring your chin up. Beautiful. Bring your chin down. Creepy. Bring your chin up. Beautiful. Bring your chin down. Creepy. Does that make sense? This is how we do it. Just keep practice with this. The light behaves the same, right? Let's say she doesn't have any wrinkles, obviously, but if she did, dead on, actually, you would probably grab and she looks wrinkleless, completely, fills up everything. Does that make sense? If I take a look at the shadow in her nose. Look how it goes soft, like you can even see it. And now look how it starts increasing if the light starts to get further away. This is very important because when you're using flash and you get that crazy shadow in the nose, you know how to fix it now, okay? That means that the light source is too small relative to the face, okay? Look at her shadow, look at her nose again, and look how it disappears as the light fills in the other side of her face, see? Okay? All right. Okay. We're gonna start doing some photo shoots. We're gonna start from the very beginning, the girl putting on her dress or just dressed like this, and then we'll put on the dress and we'll kind of start creating stories this way, okay? So, put this away here. It's kind of creeping me out a little bit. All right, thank you. I can take the lens out, right? Doesn't matter. All right, guys, I'm gonna start picking on you soon. So start warming up your heads because we are gonna start. I'm gonna pull out the 35 and I'm gonna pull out the 85. I don't need this lens at all. Let me see something. It's beautiful. Alrighty, guys, ready? We're gonna start. This is your wedding, pretend. What's the first thing you could possibly think of doing before she puts on her dress? Could we do something fun with her, like kind of create a bridge, create a beginning? Instead of just starting with pulling out the dress, why don't you create some fun shots before? Maybe she could just be putting on her sweater or whatever, and the dress is kind of in the background. Like that person said, we're gonna play with aperture to kind of see if we can create multiple stories. One part could be the dress, another part could be her on the frame, and we could keep playing like that. So let's not worry about nervousness, let's just kind of shoot away and see what we can do. Okay? All right. Leon, coming up, my friend. Now, Leon, I'm gonna coach you through this a little bit. Just want to teach you, and as I'm teaching, I'm gonna try to share with the people online. Okay. From the perspective where I'm standing, I see a beautiful curtain right there. I see a mirror right there, and where she's standing, I can actually see the dress and her reflection from the mirror. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now the lighting is hitting her from the side. You see how it's kind of the light's coming from that window, and it's also coming from that window. So it's actually lit beautifully in the reflection.
Okay.
This is all good stuff, okay? If you wanted to do something interesting, you could put the dress on the right side of the frame, and you could put her on the left side of the frame doing something photojournalistic. And you just start to create stories this way.
Right.
All right? So, let me see what you have. You have a bracelet and stuff, right? Okay, let's take it off, and then let's put it back on. But when you do that, can you sit here? Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make her body look really nice, okay? So let's go ahead and cross your legs. Good. Let's go ahead and keep your spinal cord super straight. Beautiful. Actually, you know what? Drop your spinal cord. Okay, how does that look? Super slouchy, right? It's not a good situation. So pick up your spinal cord again, really picked up. Now, the light source is in this direction, so we do not want to tell her to turn her face towards the dark side. You want to turn her face towards the bright side, right? So go ahead and turn towards the window to the left, and as you do that, put on these bracelets, and I won't do that now, just explaining. So you're going to put it on, not yet. You're going to put it on. She's going to be, let me see, she's about 4 feet from the window, whereas the dress is 2 feet from the window. So I'm gonna put the dress lit by the window, and I'm gonna put her on silhouette like we did downstairs. Okay? So let's try this real quick. The reason why I'm turning the dress is so the light hits the dress better. Okay? Let me see something here. It's too much on the side. I'm gonna put it a little bit more so it's facing the bride a little bit. Elena, right? Okay. I'm gonna remove one thing. If people are watching, make sure you remove everything that's gonna be on your frame. Sometimes we take a picture and we forget that we put something on the. You know what I mean? So. Okay, Elena, let's try this. Very slowly. Remember, this is a silhouette situation, so we're gonna get those hands to really show. Let me turn this around. Give me a second. I'm gonna put my aperture at 2.0. I'm going to overexpose by a stop and a third. Do you know why? What's that? I'm gonna stop it because I don't want her in full silhouette. I kind of want her to still show. So I'm going to open up a little light on her. Okay? Okay, with your hand, keep one hand higher than the other. And put on the bracelet and bring your chin down towards it. And keep your eye on the hand. Give me a second. Give me a quick sec. I'm going to turn this into black and white. Stay right there. Soften the hands, really soft. Bring your hands down just a tad. Separate your hands a little bit so the window can show between. Go ahead and grab your bracelet again. Up, higher, higher, higher. Good. Turn your head slightly towards me. Look at, keep putting on the bracelet slowly. Okay. Okay, guys. So I took that one picture, right? Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if you guys noticed that I kept adjusting things. As I started posing, problems started happening, you start adjusting. I didn't take more than one picture. Not that it matters if you take more than one, but you get better at it, right? I started adjusting the elbows. Her elbows were too high, it looked awkward. Her chin was a little bit too straight on. It didn't look quite right. Here's the photo that came out of that. So, what, can everybody see that photo there? They can see it? Okay. What do you think about, like, would you pay big bucks for that kind of thing? I mean, that looks totally nice, right? Let's go ahead and mess it up. Let's not think about anything we did, okay? Why don't we try to, let me see. I'm gonna take another picture of the dress. I'm going to put a flash on my camera. Go ahead and stand right here, please. Right in front of me. Go ahead and take a step to the right. To your left, sorry. A little less. Right there. Okay. This is the bad photograph, right? This is where we didn't think about anything. You see that? It's just her dress barely shows up. Her hands look nervous. Does that make sense? There's no creativity. There's no use of aperture for creativity. Basically, everything looks exactly the same. There's nothing exciting about it. I turned on the flash, and the flash flattened the light. So instead of creating shape, you're actually flattening all the shapes that are possibly there. You're going from a three-dimensional beautiful image to a flat, awful looking thing. Okay? Let me pull one of you out, and see if we can get something creative using those techniques. Christelle. Very simple. I want you to have her sit on that couch, and I want you to give her soft shadows in her face, and I don't want her face to be split too much in light. I want it to be sort of even on the light. Now, before you do that, pre-visualize why is that couch there? Because the window's close to the couch. We can photograph her. The curtain could be part of the background. You could put the bride here. That curtain could be on the right side, and it could basically balance out the photograph. So I want to give you the camera here.
So we're going to move the furniture at all, or we just keep her on that furniture to figure out the shadows?
There's really no wrong way. Okay. All we're doing is taking photos before we actually have her put on the dress and so forth. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So here's this. Now turn off the flash. Okay. Elena, right? Is it Elena? Alana. No, it does matter. I have to get it right, because when people call me Bobby or Bob or something, I'm like, oh heck no. You did not just call me Bobby, you know what I'm saying? Or Bob or something like that. Alana. Okay. Alana. Let's start with a photograph wrong. Okay. Go ahead and take a seat there, Elena. Totally face this way. Okay. Why is this? This is very important. People online, this is what separates a good photo from a bad one. I'm sorry, a good photo from a great one. See what I mean? What we're going to do. Why is this not a good choice?
Her face is darker than the background.
This violates one of the 5 things we talked about. The 5 sacred no-nos is that the face should never be darker than the background, unless it's a silhouette, right? What else is happening behind her head?
The curtain. I mean, she's not completely like in the. Oh, sorry. Are you talking more about the background or more about the light?
Because
I mean,
people
she's
wrote
not
me
perfectly aligned with the background.
Okay. Because people wrote me a list of problems when it comes to bridal portraits and so forth. And they said, how do you make something clean looking? Yes. Well, you make something clean looking by, if you cannot remove that curtain, you can make it clean by balancing it. You put the girl on the left and the curtain on the right. Now it's balanced. Let me tell you, for people on the internet, a distraction, like a distracting curtain or something, can be an asset, can be turned into an asset if you use it to balance your main subject with it. Okay? So let's say you have a house, and you have your subject, and you can't remove the house. If the house is behind your subject, it will dominate your subject. But if the house is on the right, and you put your subject on the left, now the house balances the subject. Okay? This fixes a lot of issues that people wrote me about. Keeping the background clean. You don't have to rip the curtains out of the rooms. You can actually keep the curtain. The curtain is what I consider the curtain a distraction that can be turned into something beautiful by simply balancing it. So, let's start fixing this. I would say she's way too close to the light for her to look beautiful and feminine. So if I was to make a mistake and I was to put her here, go ahead and sit down here for me on this armrest, Alana, I have to remember. You have a beautiful bride, beautiful face. This works if you're shooting a fashion shoot too. Now bring your face, let's see, right there. This is probably the worst possible way we could photograph her. Okay? It's making this side of her face look huge because of the light. And then it makes it worse when you can't even see the other side. Because then you think that this big side is the same as this side on the right or on her left, right? So let's start to fix this problem. Spinal cord goes up. Now, if we want to make the light less contrasty on the face, what would you do, Christelle?
We'd move her further away.
Bingo. Yeah. What else could you do?
Bring in a reflector.
What else could you do?
Bring in a flash. With a diffuser.
With a diffuser, so it doesn't. So the flash doesn't become its own identity, right? It wants to help you. You could also turn her head towards the window and change your angle. That will solve a lot of problems. So come over here. Photograph her the wrong way first. Let's go the wrong way. So get right there. You might want to change your settings. Do you need me to change your settings for you?
Yes.
Let me see. So you're at 2.0, 500. Let me change this to color. Okay, try it. Just focus. The focusing point's in the middle. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. So the broad light is broad lighting and the other side is very contrasty, right? Doesn't look quite nice. Now let's go ahead and turn her face towards the light to fix that. So let me see something. Now it's too much, right? You have to change your angle. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what do you have in the background?
Mirrors.
And
you.
And me.
Yes.
So that's not a good thing.
Right.
So here's another problem. You build this photograph, and as you're starting to visualize it, you start to build problems, right? But we can fix this by moving the furniture. I consider part of our job as photographers to be like professional moving company or something. You have to continue to move stuff. So Alana, get up from me for a second. I put it here for people on the internet to realize that now she can be here and she can be on the left and the curtain is going to be more on the right. Okay? I'm removing the mirrors. That creates another problem. This is what's a problem-solving class. And this happens a lot. In reality, this is what happens. Go ahead and take a seat again. Put your arm up against the armrest. Cross your legs so the leg closest to the camera is the one curving. Okay, remember that? The leg closest, no, the other one. If this is the leg, if you're photographing from this angle, this is the leg that should be crossed over. Because if you're wearing a dress, it gives her body more of a you can see the whole curve of the thigh and everything. Does that make sense? Looks very glamorous. If you're photographing from this angle and you cross the wrong leg, go ahead and cross this way. That is like an X on the legs. And that does not look good. This is a good angle if you're photographing from there. But because we're photographing from here, we know that's the closest leg to the camera. We cross it over. Just relax it. Spinal cord. Okay. Arm. We try to avoid 90-degree angles on the arm. So bring your shoulder closest to the camera. Good. Spinal cord keeps straight. Beautiful. Fingers drop and soften. Chin goes ever so slightly this way. Good. Let me see something. Okay, go ahead and photograph her from here. And photograph her horizontally so the left side shows the curtain and the right side shows her face. It's good? No, it's good. Okay, let me try that. Bring your chin down a little bit. Okay. If people can see this online, I did something on purpose here. Go ahead and hold that for me. Do you see how the wall is actually coming out of her head? Mm-hmm. And you see how those paintings are still in the background? Mm-hmm. And that's not helping your case? Right. So we want to basically go ahead and get up again. Go ahead and take a seat again. Change the angle and get rid of that line. That's basically all you need to do. Just think about it, take your time. Change the angle, right? Yeah, mm-hmm. So you can get rid of that line. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. You can also take a vertical. Try that. Maybe get closer. More like a close-up. Now she could be doing something photojournalistic, so let's add to it. She could be adjusting her earring. The other earring. Exactly. Yeah. Now go ahead. Good. If we had bridesmaids here, you could put the bridesmaids all across the room, and that little gap in between the bridesmaids could be her. And the bridesmaids would all be kind of framing her. Does that make sense? So let's go ahead and put on the wedding dress. Thank you. Thank you.
So Roberto?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to give you a time check and let you know that we have a little bit less than 15 minutes from our original lunchtime plan, but we can power through this part or we can go until 12:30. So I just wanted to give you the option on what you would like to do, because I know we have so much to get through. So we can either do 15 minutes or 30 minutes.
Can we do the 30?
Absolutely. That's why I'm breaking in and letting you know.
Thank you. Let's do the 30. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and put on the dress and all of that, okay? These photos that I showed, this is the way I would have built the photos. This is how we problem solve issues, okay? You keep moving things around. Don't worry about messing up, just adjust, okay? So let's go ahead and put on the wedding dress now. Let me see. If you're photographing this happening, you have to properly tell her how to pick up the dress. You don't just tell her, put on your dress, okay? So let's glamorize the whole thing. So let's see. When you pick up the dress, even though you can reach it, pick it up with your tippy toes. Like go on your tippy toes, put one leg in front of the other, and then go on your tippy toes. Pick up, get your spinal cord super straight, and pick up the dress and look at the hanger so your chin goes up, okay? And when you do that, pick it up with your hands super soft. Like don't grab it, just soft, okay? And do it in slow motion too. Okay, give me a sec. Hold on a second. Just slowly, give me a sec. Okay, go ahead and reach for it. Slowly, stop. Stop right there, give me a second. Give me a quick sec, stay right there. Good. Give me a sec. One more second. Reach for it. And give me a slight smile towards it. Okay, good. Stop right there. Let me show these guys real quick what I'm doing. I put the dress on the left, she's on the middle, and the reflection of hers on the right. Does that make sense? She's smiling. You can barely tell the smile because her smile's out of focus because it's the reflection. Okay? All right, go ahead and pick it up slowly. Keep smiling at the dress. Good. Good. Bring that elbow down on your right side so it doesn't block your face. Keep looking at it. Good. You see what I just did? Her elbow was right here when she picked it up. So when you take a picture, I don't know if I show that actually. Yeah. When you take a picture, you can see her arm crossing right through her face. Okay? This is where one of the problems that somebody asked me was, how do you get good at reading the entire frame when you're taking photographs? And the reason how you do it is you take your time, you chill, you relax. And then I told her to bring her arm down, and look what happened to the photograph now. You see that? Now there's no arm crossing through her face in the reflection. It's clear. Okay? Thank you. Grab the dress. Get close. Put it in front of you real quick. Like you're sizing it up, and bring your face towards the light. So your body's just like that, but bring your face towards the window. Good, and put the dress close to you. Just close like you're hugging it. Yeah, just like that. Oops, sorry, I almost pulled this out. Nico would have killed me. Okay, good. Hug the dress and smile out the window quickly. Hug it, hug the whole thing. Look at the window, good. Okay, beautiful. Just gonna show these guys real quick. You see, it looks just like she's just ready to put it on. Her light's beautiful, and her face is towards the light, not against the light. Okay? All right, go ahead and grab it. You can put it over here. Now, let's say we have someone, we need someone helping her. Go ahead and stand right in the middle here. Stop right, a little more. Right there. Okay. Okay, another problem that we have here is this curtain is actually blocking part of her face when I'm shooting it from here. So I actually have to put her head right in between this white column and this curtain. So her face is not distracted by something coming out of it. Does that make sense? So I'm going to actually pull this a little bit this way, if I can. Now that I have less of a problem, remember, it's like a moving company. You just have to keep moving. Okay, that's good. That gives me more space. We're going to stand right there. Let me see. Okay. Can anybody tell me why am I not putting her in the middle of the window? It's exactly right. It's the expected thing to do. So we're not doing that. Okay, I'm going to move this couch to the back. And we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to change my lens to a 35 millimeter. Now, if I was actually shooting a wedding, I would actually do this with two cameras. One with my 35, one with my 85. But because we're tethered, I'm just going to have to switch lenses, okay? The reason why I'm switching to the 35 is to answer some more of the questions that people ask me about creating that glamour, romantic look. How do you do that? How do you not flatten the image? 35 millimeter at 2.0 gives you that three-dimensional, round, beautiful feel. So, let's see. Give me a second. I'm just going to do a test. Very nice. Okay. Now, she's going to go ahead and change. So, let me see. How do you want to do this? Because you have to, you want to kind of get started all the way through. While you do that, we'll point the cameras towards the audience, and we can ask questions so we don't have to point the cameras at her right now while she puts it on. Can you put just the legs first in? Okay, go ahead and come in here for a second. Okay, let's point the cameras at her actually for a split sec. Okay, let me show you something. Don't grab the dress and have her put it on. Arms have to be opened up. So you have to create openness like a bird, like it flies, right? So open up the dress. Her spinal cord stays straight. She's going to slip one leg first. And when she slips it, she's going to cross the leg over. So she's going to go like this, and then the leg will cross. When you take the picture, that whole thigh will show up, because this is the leg closest to the camera, okay? So very carefully. Actually, do you need to take off your shoes, or you can do it with the shoes on? Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead. This is the most people watching you ever, taking off your shoes. Yeah, yeah. Like, that's quite the audience, taking off the shoes. You guys see how picky you have to be? You see how anal you have to be? Like, every little thing. I started with using the whole frames to tell the stories. Then I talked about how to get the face to look beautiful and with the light. Now we're talking about how to put on the dress and so forth. If you don't tell people this, it's just going to look flat. If I was to photograph her from here, actually stand over there for me for a second. If I was to photograph her from here, this is going to look flat, isn't it? Because the light's just hitting her right flat on the face. So I'm actually going to take a quick picture to show you how flat that looks and why having the window in front of the subject is not exactly the best. Sorry. Look, let me just show you something real quick. Let me see how boring this is. Go ahead and look down. Look how that just looks. It's okay. It's just the light's hitting her flat. Okay. Let's try it this way. Now, your head has to be exactly in between the white pole and the curtain. So take a step forward. Okay, take half a step back. Good. Now, put the right leg first, and then when you put it in, cross. Hold on a second. Give me a quick sec. Bring your chin slightly to the right while you do that, and down. Okay, go ahead and continue. Stop. Oh, beautiful. Stay right there. Stop. Hold on. Wait, quick second. Okay, go ahead. Take half a step forward. Right there. Too much. Yeah, right there. Go ahead and put it on. Cross the leg. Continue. You can actually put it on now. As soon as I said that, she curved her back, right? She hunched her back towards it. Okay, go ahead and turn your body towards the window so you don't have to show the world everything. Go to the left a little so your head is not in between in the curtain. No, in the window right there. Right, a little more. Right there. Cross your legs so one leg's in front of the other and drop your body weight. Good. While you do that, now you can take off your sweater slowly and turn your face to the right as you do. Stop right there. Stop. Don't move. Stop. Actually, don't even move. Hold on. Keep that for a sec. Take a look at this, guys. Had I not told her to turn her face, it would have looked, look at the way her arm looks. Look how parallel the top of the window is with the top of the frame. You see how beautiful that looks? Look how her head is in between the curtain and the white pole. Nothing is coming out of her head. But people sometimes say, Roberto, you take great pictures because your people are beautiful, right? But now I think people online have to see how much detail I have to say for this to come out. How much detail, attention to detail. Let's see, if I wouldn't have had her turn her head, let's see how that would have looked. Would have looked pretty boring, actually. Look straight out the window. Okay, if you're watching online, this picture that just came out is not exactly as interesting as the previous photo, where you can see part of her face. It's much more beautiful. Look at that's boring compared to this one. Okay, just little details. Okay? Okay, continue. Stop. Look at your shoulder again. Down. Good. Stay just like that. Give me a sec. Stop. Stop. Freeze. Show you this one more time. I went vertical for a reason. She was too much to the left for me to get straight. For me to have this straight. So I went vertical to continue that beautiful. You see how the light hits her and then it kind of gets dark? Yeah. That is happening because I'm positioning her at the right distance from the light. Would I not do that? Would I have her get further away? That would have looked completely flat again. Okay? Okay, continue. Continue. And as soon as that dress starts to come off, I'm going to stop you. And continue. Stop. actually finish that tail. That last part of your dress needs to get out. Now you can pull it. Okay, stop. Okay. Can somebody help me with this couch one more time? Can you guys pull it that way? I'm going to do this quickly because I need to make sure that we understand online how we can utilize the room. Okay? Oh yeah, let's remove that. Thank you. Can somebody give me my 50mm lens? It's in that bag. It's on the right side. It's on this side right there. No. Oh, it's right here. Sorry. Don't zip it all the way yet. Don't zip it. Keep it down. Keep it down. More. And open it a little bit. Oh, you can't already. Yeah, just a tad. Beautiful. Okay, take a step to the left if you can. More. One more step. And Sarah, Julia, could you guys on that side of the room, could you guys move to this side of the room? Just you and David. Just you and David. You're okay. You can sit back down. Stay right there. Give me a second. Keep holding the shoes like that. Bring your face slightly towards the window. And look at that red car outside in front of you. Chin down. Bring your chin to the left. Now tilt your head towards your right shoulder. Left shoulder then. Right there, stop. Give me a second. Chin down a bit. Take a step forward. Right there. Good. Give me a sec. I want to change the aperture to 2.8 to 3.2 so I can get her reflection more in focus. Keep the shoes there. Bring the shoes closer to your body. And drop them down a tad. Right there. Stop. Stay. I'm going to do one more picture here. Give me a second. Bring your face to the left. Right there. More to the left. Chin down. Take a step back. Right there. One more and then I'm done. Give me a second. Okay. Would you guys mind coming over to this side of the room real quick? Because this is an online course, I want to make sure that I'm teaching what I'm actually showing what I'm doing instead of just doing it. Okay, take a look at what do you see here. You see this mirror here? But do you see the other mirror, how it reflects? Where's the other mirror? It reflects on that one. Do you see that? So when I walk to this angle, again, it's about creating problems and making them into opportunities. Remember we said before that mirror was a problem because you could see my reflection? But this mirror is pointed towards that mirror, so you can create a double reflection, right? Now, if something's a distraction and you balance it, you fix the problem as well. Take a look at these images here. You see how she's on this side of the frame? I don't know if this is online, but I hope so.